Okay, boys and girls, and we have explained different types of topics in the YouTuber, and now today we are going to explain about the skeletal system, which comprises of very much importance for the need point of view. And this skeletal system, everybody knows, skeletal system is composed of 206 bones. We are going to deal today with the skeletal system, Nana, and this is the skeletal system, which is composed of, skeletal system is composed of 206 bones. The human skeleton is composed of 206 bones. Among 206 bones, and for our convenience, the skeletal system is classified into two types. One is axial skeleton. The other one is called appendicular skeleton. Axial skeleton. The other one is called appendicular skeleton. So, if we go for this appendicular skeleton, it consists of 120 bones. Appendicular skeleton is composed of how many bones, Nana? That is 120 bones. And if we observe, this is the human body, in which all the bones which are associated with the axis of the body, this is the longitudinal axis of the body. The bones that are associated with the longitudinal axis of the body belongs to the axial skeleton. And those bones which are attached to the axial skeleton, like forelimb bones, like girdle bones, so the bones that are attached to the axial skeleton and giving support to the axial skeleton are called as bones belongs to that appendicular skeleton. Whereas axial skeleton contain 80 bones, appendicular skeleton contain 126 bones. And among these 80 bones, the skull itself comprises of 22 bones. Human skull is composed of how many bones, Nana? The human skull is composed of 22 bones. Among 22 bones, human skull is composed of how many bones, Nana? 22 bones. Among these 22 bones, we are clearly saying that it constitutes one cranial bones. The cranial bones are 8 in number, Nana. And whereas facial bones, the facial bones are said to be 14 in number, Nana. How many in number? 14. 14 plus 8, 22 bones comprises the skeleton. Okay? And right. And among the cranial bones, we have different types of bones. Among that, the cranial bones, which forms the forehead, belongs to the frontal bone. And whereas the roof of the skull is formed by parietals, the roof of the skull is formed by parietal bones, which are 2 in number. So, which are said to be 2 in number, parietal bones. And the third one is nothing but a temporal bone. The number of temporal bones are said to be 2 in number. And a sphenoid bone. The number of sphenoid bones are said to be 2 in number. How many in number? Sphenoid bones are 2 in number. And whereas ethmoid bone is 1 in number. And we also have the occipital bone. 1. So, this is the frontal bone which forms the forehead and anterior part of the skull. This is the frontal bone which is present on the front side. This is the parietal bone which are forming the roof of the skull. And this is the occipital bone which is forming the base of the skull. And these bones are called temporal bones, which are present on the lateral portion of the skull. They forms the lateral floor of the cranium or lateral side of the cranium. And a sphenoid bone which articulate with all other bones. They are present. If this is the skull, it is present here. So it articulates with all other bones. So hence a sphenoid bone is called as keystone bone of the cranium. So it is called as keystone bone of the cranium. So which is called as keystone bone of the cranium, Nana? The keystone bone of the cranium is called as sphenoid bone. Because why this is called as keystone bone? Because it articulates with all other bones. This is the bone which articulates. It articulates with all other bones of the cranium. It articulates with all other bones of the cranium. It articulates with all other bones of the cranium. As it articulates with all other bones of the cranium, we call the sphenoid bone as keystone bone. One of the important it is now, for NEET point of view, they are asking mostly regarding this question. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 2, 5. Sphenoid is one on a single one. So 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. Totally 8 bones present are forming the cranium. And whereas facial bones, these facial bones includes nasals, which are forming the nasal bridge, 2 bones, and inferior nasal concave, inferior nasal concave, these are 2. Number of lacrimal bones, the smallest bones of the face, lacrimals. And you know very well, nowadays it became a fashion by keeping these bones outside. And let us see the Karishma Kapoor. Let us see, and here in the AP state we had different heroines. And these heroines which we are seeing that they are showing these bones to the outside. And by melting the fat present here. And these bones which we are calling as cheek bones. And these cheek bones are also called as zygomatic bones. Zygomatic bones is also called as cheek bones. Zygomatic bones is also called as cheek bones. They are forming the cheeks. That's one of the important. And maxillae, which is forming the upper jaw, or maxillary bones. These are 2 in number. These 2 maxillary bones fuse to form the upper jaw. One of the important now. And also it is forming the vomer. Number of vomers 1. And is also forming, that is nothing but a mandible. The only movable bone of the face is mandible, unpaired. The unpaired bones of the face are vomer, mandible. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12. Totally how many bones here? 12 bones came here. So nasals, inferior nasal concave, lacrimals, zygomatic bones, maxillary bones, and vomer, mandible. These 2 are the unpaired bones. Whereas palatine bones, which are forming the posterior part of the hard palate, these are 2 in number. Totally 14. Totally, the total number of bones that constitute the formation of face is nothing but 14 bones. Among all these bones, among all the bones of the face, this is the mandible which is forming the upper jaw, lower jaw. Mandible, it is the only movable bone of face. What is the only movable bone of the face? It is the only movable bone of face. And this is the mandible, which is also called as lower jaw. This is the mandible, which is also called as lower jaw. That's an important, very, very most important it is. And next to this are ear ossicles. What are these ear ossicles? How many ear ossicles are present? They are said to be 3 pairs. In the human being, 3 pairs of ear ossicles are present. I think everybody knows this because in the previous classes also we discussed regarding this. Among that, what is the malleus, which is said to be hammer-headed. The malleus is the hammer-shaped, hammer-headed, and is said to be modified articular bone. In the embryonic stage, the articular bone get modified into the modified articular bone. So which is called as the modified articular bone, Nana? Malleus. And second one is called incus. Incus is said to be anvil shaped bone. Incus is said to be anvil shaped bone. And this anvil shaped bone is the modified quadrate. It is considered as the modified quadrate bone. What is the modified quadrate bone, Nana? The modified quadrate bone is called as nothing but incus bone. And what is the third one? Stapes. And stapes is called as stirrup bone. Stapes is called as stirrup bone, and this is the stirrup bone which is said to be modified hyomandibularis. It is a modified hyomandibularis bone. So dear students, this is the question which is asked in the previous examinations. If they asked in the correct order, these three bones are present in the middle ear. These three bones are present in the middle ear in the order of M-I-S. Malleus, incus, stapes is the correct order. M-I-S. Malleus, incus, stapes is the correct order. That's one of the important bit. And other than this, there is another bone called as hyoid. What is this bone? Hyoid bone. Do you know one thing? Hyoid is the U-shaped bone. Hyoid is the U-shaped bone. And this is the hyoid bone, which is the U-shaped bone. And U-shaped bone at the base of skull. It is present at the base of skull. The U-shaped bone present at the base of skull. Here. It will be like this. So the U-shaped bone present at the base of skull, which should never articulate with any other bone. Which should never articulate with any other bone. So with any other bone is called as hyoid bone. They serve as attachment for the muscles of the tongue and also with the mouth. So hyoid bone is very much useful for the attachment to the muscles. They serve as attachment for the muscles of the tongue. And the tongue muscles get attached to this bone. So this is the unpaired bone, Nana. This is the unpaired bone. Hyoid bone is single bone, unpaired bone. Next to this, we had ribs. The total number of ribs are 24. That is nothing but 12 pairs. How many ribs are present, Nana? 12 pairs of ribs are present. Along with ribs, we had number of vertebrae. We had the vertebrae or vertebral column is having the number of vertebrae 26. How many vertebrae are present, Nana? 26 vertebrae are said to be present here. And the last bone belongs to this is sternum. I think everybody knows this sternum. This is the sternum which is present between two breasts. As this is the sternum which is present between two breasts, we call this bone as breastbone. So which bone is called as breastbone? Sternum is considered as the breastbone, and it is said to be unpaired bone. So unpaired bone sternum, 24 ribs, 26 vertebrae, plus 6 ear-ossicles, 1 hyoid, facial, cranial bones. All these constitutes to form axial skeleton. 1 plus 24, 25. 25 plus 26, 51. 51 plus 6, 57. 57 plus 1, 58. Plus 1, 58. How many, Nana? 58. So 58 plus 8, 66 plus 14, 80. So totally 80 bones. But the question that what they asked in the previous examination is, they didn't ask about these. They asked only ear-ossicles once. They asked only once about the hyoid bone, okay, the U-shaped bone, which is present in the base of skull and which never articulate with any other bone. and keeps the larynx always open. And it keeps larynx, you know larynx means sound box. It keeps the larynx open always. Name the bone which keep the larynx always at a. We have to say that the answer is hyoid bone. Okay, right. The question what I want to ask you is the total number of bones. This is the question what they asked in the previous examinations. The total number of bones associated with skull are the total number of bones that are associated with the skull. The total number of bones that are associated with skull are how many? So among that skull, they are asking skull, cranial bones 14. Cranial bones are 8, no, sorry. And this is facial bones. How many? 14. And you know hyoid also belongs to the skull, 1. And ear ossicles. What are these ossicles now? Ear ossicles. Ear ossicles are 6. 6 plus 1, 7. 7 plus 14, 21 plus 8, 29. The total number of bones associated with skull are 29. The total number of bones associated with skull are 29. That's all. Let you see the upward question. The total number of bones associated with skull. What are the bones that are associated with skull? The bones that are associated with skull are cranial 8, facial 14, hyoid 1, and ear ossicles are 6. Totally 29 bones are associated with the skull. That's an important. Okay. So I think everybody understood about these. We are giving the outline classification. We did not explain each and every one here. In the later class, let us explain about the vertebral column. Let us explain about the sternum. Let us explain about the ribs, as they are also important for board examinations also. Not only for NEET examination, they are also important for board examination. As they both are important, we can discuss them in the next class. Then now let us come to this. What is this, Nana? Appendicular skeleton. This is the appendicular skeleton which contain girdle bones. The girdle bones are said to be 6. And the other bones are limb bones. The total number of limb bones are said to be 120. So limb bones are 120, whereas girdle bones are 6. Among 6, you know, you had 2 types of girdles, which belongs to the one shoulder, pectoral girdle. This is the pectoral girdle. Everybody knows this. In Bahubali, the picture, we also seen when this Prabhas lifted this, what we say, Shivalinga. There, the pectoral girdle will be appeared very superbly there. The pectoral girdle is having 4 bones now. Pectoral girdle is having 4 bones, whereas pelvic girdle is having 2 bones. Pelvic girdle is having how many bones, Nana? 2 axial bones. 2 axial is also called hip bones. Okay, right. Whereas pectoral girdle, it contains shoulder bones, or otherwise called blade bones, called scapula. We can explain these in the later classes, Nana. Scapula, these are said to be 2 in number, and clavicles, which we can also call as collar bones. These are 2. 2, 2, 2. Totally 6 bones constitutes girdles. Whereas limb bones, you know, the limb bones are of 2 types. One of the limb bone is forelimb. I think everybody knows this forelimb is also called as hand. And each hand contains 30 bones. In the human body, this is the hand which contains 30 bones. How many bones, Nana? 30 bones. Among the 30 bones, the first bone is called humerus, 1. Radius, 1. Ulna, 1. Ulna, 1. And one more, that is carpals. I think everybody knows this. Carpals are said to be 8 bones, which are also called as wrist bones, where you keep the watch. that what you are calling as a wristwatch, because you keep that watch on the wrist. Here the bones are present. In this, the bones which we are present are called as wrist bones. And these wrist bones are also called as carpals. And the other one is called metacarpals, otherwise called palm bones. P-A-L-M, palm bones. Metacarpals are 5. And whereas last one is phalanges. I think everybody knows that phalanges is also called as digits. The number of digits in one forelimb are 14. How can you say that the digits are 14, sir? This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Thus 14 digits are present here. So total number of digits 14. 14 plus 5. 19 plus 8, 27, 28, 29, 30. Thus 30 bones constitute to form one forelimb. Thus I had two forelimbs. 2 into 30, 60 bones. Okay, right. And the next one is called as hind limb. Everybody knows these hind limbs are also called as LGGS, legs. And each hind limb contains 30 bones. Each hind limb contains how many bones, Nana? 30 bones are present in each hind limb, And 30 bones are present in each hind limb. Each hind limb contains 30 bones. Among 30, the first one is called femur, thigh bone, which is also called as the strongest bone of leg. This is 1. Tibia, 1. Fibula, 1. And tarsals. I think the students know very well about these tarsals. Tarsals are said to be 7, and these are called ankle bones. Ankle bones, okay. Metatarsals, which are also called as sole bones. These are 5. And phalanges, 14. For sometimes, whenever our foreparents, or whenever our bigger parents, or whenever our teachers, whenever they get angered towards us, they say that wherever your brain is present, is it your brain present at that place? What is that place? That place is called kneecap. And that kneecap is also called as patella. Patella is also called as kneecap. And this kneecap is said to be 1. Don't forget this. The patella is the kneecap, which is the modified sesamoid bone. Patella is also called as kneecap, which is the modified tendon. You know very well the bones which are said to be the modified tendons. They are not nothing but sesamoid bones. Hence, this bone is called as example of sesamoid bone. So patella is an example of which bone, Nana? This is the question what they asked in the previous examinations. Patella, otherwise called kneecap, is a modification of is a modification of tendon. The bones which are modified tendons are nothing but the sesamoid bones. So patella is the kneecap, which is the sesamoid bone. So thus 14, 15, 20, 32, 33, 34. Sorry, 14 plus 1, 15, 20, 27, 28, 29, 30. One leg contains 30 bones. Thus 2 legs contain 30 plus 30, 60 bones. The 2 legs comprise 60 bones. The 2 hands comprise 60. 60 plus 60, 120 bones belongs to the limb bones. Thus, we are clearly saying, we are clearly explaining each bone to bone we are explaining here. Among that, what the questions they ask is, what are the paired bones present in the cranium? What are the unpaired bones present in the cranium? What are the paired bones present in the face? What are the unpaired bones present in the face? What is the only movable bone in the face? What is the strongest movable bone in the face? What is the keystone bone in the face? What are the smallest bones in the face? Okay, and here, which bone is called as breastbone? Which bones are said to be thin, slender bones attached to the sternum? Which bone is the U-shaped bone but do not articulate with any other bone? Hyoid. Which bone keeps the larynx always open by being at the base of the skull? Hyoid bone. Which bone serves as attachment to the muscles of the tongue? Hyoid bone. Which bones are the modified articular? Malleus. Which bone is the modified quadrate? That is incus. Which bone is the modified stapes? Stirrup bone. Stirrup bone. Like this, the questions will be asked. So, malleus, incus, stapes. Stapes is the stirrup bone. Malleus is the anvil-shaped bone. And this is the hammer-headed bone. Malleus is the hammer-headed bone. This is the question what they asked in the previous examination. They asked in the order malleus, incus, stapes, M-I-S, miss. This is the question what they asked in the previous examinations. The U-shaped bone never articulate with any other bone of the skull. Hyoid. The U-shaped bone present being at the skull, base of the skull. They are present at the base of buccal cavity, keeping the larynx always open. Hyoid bone. Number of paired bones. Number of unpaired bones of face. Number of paired bones of cranium. Number of paired bones, unpaired bones of cranium. The total number of bones of skull. The total number of bones associated with skull 29. Skull contains 22 bones, but the number of bones associated with skull contains 29. 8 cranial, 14 facial, hyoid 1 and erosical 6. Erosicals 6. Thus, you are clearly saying that the skeletal system composed of 206 bones, and this is the outline classification. If a student learn all these bones in the form of this order and he prepared the chart like this without seeing the textbook or class notes after reading, surely he can write any type of the question what are arised by this classification, skeletal system classification. So dear students, that is why I make the subject very easier by keeping like this and by drawing like these charts, that what we are calling as flow charts. So flow charts, this is very much important. If we are gone through this, surely we can get the good marks. And in the tomorrow class, we can see about the ribs, vertebral column, and also what we say sternum. These three concepts, let us discuss tomorrow in the next class. Okay, so if you are showing more interest towards my YouTube channel, you can subscribe me. Thank you very much.